Can we also give it up for our live studio audience, everybody?
If you've ever wanted to kill somebody.
It's empty. How's that smell? What's going on, you guys? What's up? And how y'all doing today? Gosh, I guess summer's over. It's pouring rain. Maybe I can show. I'll show you on my iPhone. I don't wanna. This took a lot of setting up. I'm like really nervous that the background is blurred right now. I don't have my glasses on right now. I can't see. I was setting this up for probably like 10 minutes. I was messing with the settings on this camera, being like, why the fuck is the background blurred? It looks so stupid. And then I put on my glasses to do something else, and I came back and I started messing with it, and I was like, oh my god, I fixed it. When in reality, it was just like, I just couldn't see the background. Oh yeah, I was gonna show you outside. If you can't tell, it's raining. It's pouring rain. It's supposed to storm, which I'm kind of honestly like excited for. I think storms are fun. But yeah, it's officially fall, I think. Oh, okay, cool. So you were just focusing on the mat back there. I'm planning on doing a lot of reading this fall. This fall, it's my first fall not going back to school since I was, I guess, like 4. Well, actually, in the pandemic, I did take a semester off, but I don't count that because what I was experiencing was a lot more stressful and worse than any school. I was forced to take that semester off or else I would have died. I'm in a really great place. I know in my last video I was like, guys, I'm dying. I'm like so, but recently I've had, it's like, I imagine it's what like Jesus felt coming out of that cave on Easter Sunday or Monday or Tuesday. Like that's what I imagine the feeling I'm feeling. Like I feel very inspired and I got my groove back. And I think a big reason is because I'm not going back to school. I think I trained my brain all these years to equate fall with school and I fucking hated school. So it feels good to be going into this season. Also like I'm so excited like because my brain is still trained to go back into school. I'm like looking to learn and I want that part of my brain to turn on. And I'm so excited to just learn what I want to learn instead of having to focus on like classes and structures and deadlines and stuff and just dive into like literature that I want to dive into. So this video is exactly that. Just kind of my TBR, end of year, fall, the books that I'm planning on reading. I haven't even made a pile yet, but I guess I'm just gonna have to do that while we film. I guess I should start with notes on an execution. I said in my last video that this is the book for the book club for October, my book club prior to Shawn. And I haven't really actually like read the synopsis or much about it. What I know is that it's about a serial killer and he's on death row. I think he's about to be executed in like 12 hours. He just like is recounting these murders. I've heard that it's mainly about the women. It's not really so much about him, but it explores a lot of different themes that are very dark and complex with so many different layers, and I'm super excited. It sounds like the type of book that I just love to just like, I love reading books that just like make me spiral and think about the world and think, wow, there's some people out there that are so crazy and dark and mean. I don't know, I just think that like the genre of books that just explore like the evilness of humanity and humans is something that's super, I just love it. It like tickles a part of my brain. It's so fascinating when it's like fiction, but it's also like, okay, but this is like kind of real. I think a good example is like Tampa by Alyssa Nutting. That book is like, to me, like so exceptional, but like Oh my god, so fucking dark. And it's fiction, it is based on a true story, and I think that that book does such a good job of putting you in that mind of just a sociopath and a truly evil, vile human being who doesn't exist, it's a character, but it's also like, it's not. Let me read the synopsis for this. Yeah, the first sentence. A work of literary suspense that deconstructs the story of a serial killer on death row, told primarily through the eyes of the women in his life. It sounds kind of like an anthology. It says, we meet his mother Lavender, a 17-year-old girl pushed to desperation. Hazel, twin sister to Ansel's wife, inseparable since birth, forced to watch helplessly as her sister's relationship threatens to devour them all. And finally Safi, the homicide detective hot on his trail. As the clock ticks down, these three women sift through the choices that culminate in tragedy, exploring the rippling fissures that such destruction inevitably leaves in its wake. That sounds freaking awesome. To me. I think some exceptionally dark, possibly triggering shit happens in this story, so make sure to inform yourself about those things before you read. But also, this is just gonna be like a list of books that are like dark and disgusting and horrendous, I guess, because the next one is The Road by Cormac McCarthy. I actually already read this, kind of. I read it for English class in my senior year. I couldn't finish it. I think that I had like 50 pages left, and I was like, this is filling me with like such darkness, and I had to stop, but I really want to return to it. I don't know why, and a few days ago I found it at the thrift store and I just grabbed it. This is about a father and his son. I don't remember exactly what happens, but there's this devastating event that, if I remember correctly, causes like ash to go up into the sky and I guess like engulf the entire earth. Sun can't get through, crops cannot be grown. Without sun, like everything is fucked up. The bees. They say once the bees are gone, we are gone shortly after. Or I don't know. That might not be true. So the population goes way down. After a couple of years, cannibalism starts popping up. There are these groups. Gosh, like thinking about it, there's like scenes that I'm remembering that I'm like, oh. I remember it just being so graphic and like evil and dark and sinister and just like truly just heinous, fucked up shit. Like incredibly gory, fucked up, disgusting. Like there's like I'm thinking like it's so dehumanizing and nasty and nasty, but it's also like possible if human beings were ever to get desperate enough to survive. So yeah, really excited to dive into this one. I think this one might be a bit lighter. It's much more dense, but I think that the story here isn't. I guess I do know that some people do die, and I think they're murderers, but it's The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. The Secret History is one of my favorite books of all time. Absolutely love that little book. And actually, I've had The Goldfinch for much longer than I've had The Secret History. I remember buying this just on a whim, like a couple months before the movie came out, whenever that was. Let me Google it. It came out in 2019, so I've had it for a solid, 4 years? And I've not read a single sentence. First of all, it's kind of daunting. Like it is 800 pages and I've heard, I feel like there's like no in between with this one. It's either people love it and they think it's incredible, or they hate it and they think it's a huge waste of time. And I'm scared of starting it and hating it, but still being like, okay, but I need to know what happens. And also Donna Tartt, I have such high hopes for, and I respect her so much. I just want it to be good. But if you don't know, it is about Theo Decker, a 13-year-old New Yorker. Also, wait, let me also say, apparently Donna Tartt has released a book every 10 years, and I think that this was released in 2011. So I think we might be getting some new Donna, I don't know, I've heard on the internet that apparently we're getting some new Donna Tartt, but I don't know. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But Theo Decker, a 13-year-old New Yorker, miraculously survives an accident that kills his mother. Abandoned by his father, Theo is taken in by a wealthy Park Avenue family. He is bewildered by his strange new home and tormented by his longing for his mother, clings to one thing that reminds him of her, a small, mysteriously captivating painting that has come into his possession. Oh, and then it looks like it goes forward in time to Theo as an adult who moves easily between the antique store where he works, the drawing rooms of the rich, and the underworld of art. He is alienated, unmoored, and in love, drawn inexorably by the power of that painting into a narrowing, dangerous circle. The next one I've got is, gosh, I want to read some thrillers. Obviously, October is spooky season. And fall is just like, oh god. The past few years, honestly, I've really not read a ton of thrillers. When I was a teenager, I loved thrillers and horror. But this fall, I'd love to get back into it. One author that I read a ton of as a teenager was Stephen King. And I've had The Institute by Stephen King for a long time. And it sounds fucking riveting. Like, it sounds so good. Also, yeah, my voice did break a little bit there. Listen, I'm just a 22-year-old boy. I'm still going through freaking puberty. My prefrontal cortex is not fully developed yet. My balls have not dropped yet either, and that's just something that we have to like accept and move on. And yeah, like, let's celebrate that. Let's celebrate being alive with all our beautiful imperfections. In the middle of the night. In the middle of the night. Isn't that a song? In the middle of the night. In the middle of the night, intruders silently murder young Luke Ellis's parents and steal him away from his suburban Minneapolis home. Okay, Minneapolis, that's not a real place, first of all. So it's really like bringing in the sci-fi vibes already. He then wakes up in a faraway room that looks just like his own, except there's no window. And outside his door are several other doors, behind which are several other kids with very special abilities and who arrived at wherever here is in the same way Luke did. That's a bit weird, wordy. And who arrived at wherever here is. Yeah, I think this is just gonna be like a fun little thriller, horror, sci-fi fun little thing, much like all of Stephen King's books. The next one is some Russian lit, The Master and Margarita, by, wow, I can't read that, Mikhail Bulgakov. This is about the devil, apparently, which does not sit right with me as a Christian girl, Autumn. That's my name, my first name, Christian, second first name, girl, third first name, Autumn, last name, Rodriguez. But it's about the devil who one spring afternoon comes to Moscow. So this synopsis sucks ass. Oh wow. This sounds really good. Seems like super just imaginative, over the top imagination, which I love, and just like really being like, fuck it, this is fiction. Fiction. New word just dropped. And there's no fucking boundaries. I love when you can tell that an author recognizes that and just like, yes. But the devil is accompanied by a retinue, oh, that's a word, that includes a beautiful naked witch and an immense talking black cat with a fondness for chess and vodka. That is so freaking funny. A cat that likes chess and vodka. I'm very excited to read this one. I recently read Crime and Punishment. Big fan of those Russian authors who are just able to build an atmosphere like no other. Actually, I don't want to read this. Do I? I feel like I have some books back here. I know I said that I wanted to like learn a lot, which you were probably like, oh, like you're gonna read a lot of nonfiction. I think everything we've gone through has been fiction, but that's just because I have a lot of like a pile of nonfiction books over here that I've talked about a ton. So maybe I'll just grab them. One sec. This is my list of nonfiction books, which I'll link below. I think it was like my summer TBR video where I talked about most of these books. I will say this always happens in summer, like right before summer. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get so much reading done because in my brain, of course, I'm like, it's summertime. Like, I don't have school. I can just do whatever the fuck I want to do. But I also fail to remember that during these seasons, it's nonstop rain. And in summer, it's nonstop sun. So it's like, I got stuff to do. I get to go swimming. I get to go for some walks. I get to go just out. But like, in these seasons, it's just bleak, gloom, rain. And I think I always think, well, I'm gonna be so busy in September and stuff. I'm not gonna get any reading done. But then I do, because I just sit inside all day. Whereas in summertime, I go out. So this summer, I really did not read much. So this fall, hopefully I'll get to these nonfiction. But let me just go through them quickly, because I already talked about them all. Finding the Mother Tree by Suzanne Simard. I think this is gonna give like Robin Wall Kimmerer, Braiding Sweetgrass vibes. The Right to Sex, which is, I think, like sociological about sexism and that type of stuff. The Brain, the Story of You, which is neuroscience, just like very basic dive into the brain. And then we have The End of Everything, Astrophysically Speaking by Katie Mack, which is just about the universe and how it began. God, the universe. Ugh, I hate it, but I love it. But also it's so scary. The next one, this is the one that I desperately, oh my god, it's so dusty because I've had it for so long, just sitting around. Been wanting to read this for so long. It like has to be the next book I read. It has to be. It's The Empire of Pain by Patrick Radden Keefe. Can't believe I just forgot his godly name. His holy Patrick Radden Keefe. For a split second I forgot his name. I am going to hell. Yeah. I guess I'm going to hell. I've also talked about it in so many videos, and I've yet to get to it, because it's another book that I just have such high expectations for. Do you know what? Actually, I'm gonna announce right freaking now. Say Nothing, I read for the book club, and it was such a success. And I did mention within that meeting for Say Nothing that maybe I think this could be a really great book club pick, but what scares me is it's so new. It's gonna be so hard to get at the library. So I'll say, put this on hold at the library right now because it might be November's book club pick. It might just be. But this is about the Sackler family, who are evil as fuck. They created the opioid epidemic. They created OxyContin, pushed it to doctors to prescribe to patients who were, experiencing pain or experiencing anything. Stub toe? You got stub toe? You want OxyContin? And it's killed over, hundreds of thousands of people. And Patrick Radden Keefe, he is an author, but he's so much more than that. He's also like an investigator. Say Nothing was like, I don't want to spoil anything, but like that last chapter, I think it's like the last page, he himself puts some pieces together and you just go, okay, wow. Okay, wow. And this is his deep dive, his expose on the Sackler family. So yeah, let me know if I should make that November's pick, because like I said, I'm kind of hesitant just because it's so new and I don't want people to like have to it's like a fucking $40, in Canada anyways, it's a $40 book. I didn't buy that shit. I think I got that as a gift. And then another book I've had for fucking forever. And again, it's just like, it's daunting because I have such high expectations for it. It's also is big as shit. Is The Warmth of Other Suns by Isabel Wilkerson. I read her book, Cast, and was completely floored by it. So impressed, so captivated. I feel like I learned so much from it, but also just had like the best time reading it. But in this, Wilkerson chronicles one of the great untold stories of American history. The decades-long migration of black citizens who fled the South for northern and western cities in search of a better life. From 1915 to 1970, this exodus of almost 6 million people changed the face of America. I'm Canadian, I just said, by the way, too, but still, it's just like, she just is such a good author and writer, and I feel like it is a story that I should know. See, that sounded so Canadian. I should know. And I just love learning about, like, social structures and the caste system that exists in America as well as Canada in a fairly different way, but also quite similar. Oh my god. The last one I have here isn't really a book per se, it's an author I really want to return to. I would love to reread Carmen Maria Machado's In the Dream House, as well as her short story collection, Her Body and Other Parties, because it's been long enough. I'm not a huge rereader of books. I really hesitate to reread books because I don't want to ruin that experience I had with it the first time, because often if I'm rereading something, it's because I loved it. And sometimes when I do reread it, I end up seeing its faults instead of seeing, the beauty that I experienced the first time. But I think that within this, it's just like the writing is so good. The writing is so inspiring. Also, I feel zero hesitation to reread these books because I just know, I know for a fact that they will live up to the first experience and my expectations going into them in the second one. I think that I'll be able to think more about the swordsmanship that is her writing. It's truly she carved that shit out with the points, is Excalibur? Is that the sword? She took that shit out the rock, went over to the cave, and wrote these books on the wall. But this is her memoir. This is mainly about her relationship with an abusive partner. And then this is her short story collection. I read them both quite a few years ago, and I couldn't be more excited for her to cut my ass open with fucking Excalibur for a second time. Anyways, I think that's it. It's a pretty big pile. How many books? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 books. shit. Oh no, it's 12! Oh! The road was hiding. I like need to show y'all this real quick. Cause like, hold on. I didn't even do this on purpose, but look at this color scheme. Okay. Okay, bitch. Giving fall. The darks and the little oranges and reds. The beige. The cream. The ivory. Anyways, that's what I'll be reading in the next couple months, hopefully. Maybe not, because honestly, you know, TBRs, I don't do that, really. I never, ever follow them. The only book that for sure I'll be reading is Notes on an Execution. Fingers crossed I'll get to a couple of them. Thank you for watching. Thanks for being here. And I'll see you in my next video. Ugh, God, sorry. I was kidding about the balls thing, by the way.